All right, recording. Go ahead, Britt. You dive in. I'm going to mute myself.
Yes. Amazing. And it sounds like I can just go with it. No structure, just have fun. I love it. I love it. Okay, well, awesome, guys. Thank you so much for hopping on this call. This is really an honor, truly, because this is a leader call. We're all in the same boat. We're all after the same goals, and I I this approach is new to me because I'm truly just going to speak from the heart, and I don't want to say wing it, but from someone who is a TV producer in news, I have a tendency of wanting to be perfect and have fancy slides and have you guys take notes. And I honestly think you miss the message. Like it's just going to be from me, what I've learned in the last like maybe 3 or 4 days from Brooke just shining light on this really incredible story that I've been telling myself over and over again. And I want to keep this like interactive and like talk in the chat and like, I don't know. I just have I'm excited for that. So I wanted to tell you that because I'm coming from a place who I felt like in order to look and be successful, I had to be a certain way. And this message, my goal, my intention for this message is really just to be real, vulnerable, raw, and also have it be the turning page for where I want to go in my business in the vision that we can cast together as a team. And so, it's kind of freeing that it doesn't have to be perfect and that it doesn't have to be about like all the pretty slides, although those are great. So, I guess the first thing I think it's important to bring attention to is like, I feel like at one point or another, we've all experienced maybe some doubt in some way. Maybe not rubies, but for the most part, we've experienced some self-doubt. And thank you all for hopping on and joining. I'm Brittany. But, and honestly, like I was sort of like embarrassed by that and feeling like I shouldn't feel this doubt. I shouldn't feel all this self-doubt, but I think it's normal. But what's so awesome is that I was listening to a podcast the other day and they said that we still have two choices. So you can either feel the doubt and stay stuck in that story in what you may think is your comfort zone. But what was so awesome, what this person said, is that your comfort zone is not comfy. And that might sound a little cheesy, but it's like, she's so 1,000% right. Because when you think about it, it's like when we think about how we have two options, right? We can let our circumstances win, which I've been doing. Okay, I want to be so transparent and vulnerable. I have let the lack of belief, the confidence, comparison, and my story fester in my mind. And that alone has kept me stuck. And it wasn't until I received a text message from Brooke that said, Brittany, you've been saying the same story over and over and over again. Is today the day? And I was like, whoa, gut punch. Oh my God, I'm bleeding. Sorry, I'm like really dramatic. But honestly, and I think that we can all at some point in our business relate to this. I don't want this to be about me and my story. I want to hopefully serve you and help you from me and my inconsistent because of lack of belief. Okay. So when she said that, I was like, wow, is it that simple? Because I was waiting for this monumental time in my business where all is going to come together. Like I launched a website, I'm going to do all the things, and I'm a sapphire. I'm a 2 in the Enneagram, so I like to help people, and then I'm a tied with a 7, so I like things to be fun. And what I was missing and what I wasn't focusing on, I was running away from like what I wasn't good at, like because I was focusing on like what the fun part of the business. And so I didn't really have a ton of structure, nor did I didn't have discipline. And I was avoiding the pain, because the pain in this business is that the things that we do are easy to do, but they're so easy not to do. And so I was running away from that until Brooke called me out in my shit. She's good at that, and I love you for it. And she basically said, like, is today the day or not? And how I internalized that, I was like, wow, like that makes sense, because it's like, it can literally be that simple. So whatever story we are telling ourselves, for me, and I'm just going to call it out, y'all, because Brene Brown says you better shine light on those gremlins. Okay. So I'll say mine first, and then as a team, we can all post in the chat, what is the story that has kept us stuck? Because we all have something. Is it the lack of followers? Is it the lack of consistency? Is it the lack of whatever your story is? You fill in the blank. And I know I'm not trying to preach. Oh crap. Cut me off if I am. But like truly, like I think that, and if you can also be honest with me. You can be like, Britt, I don't know what you're talking about. This is my goal. Here's where I'm going. I have nothing holding me back. Post that too, because we need you. We need you. Okay. So what I was afraid to share, and my story that I was afraid to admit, and almost like the shame I was feeling around my business, is that I wasn't worthy of success. I was comparing my chapter 5 to a top 10 coach. I was feeling like I should be further along in my business. I was feeling like I should have higher SC points. I. How many things did I say about me? What are we here for? Did I just draw? What are we here for? We're here for that person who we were 5 months ago, who we were 10 a year ago. And everything, it was the Kardashian effect that I was having on my business, because it was all about me. I made it about me. I made my excuses and the reason why I was stuck in my business about me. And it wasn't until Brooke sent that text to me where I felt like, I don't know, like it almost is like you don't want to fully admit it because it's cozy in your comfort zone. But really, your comfort zone is the most painful place you could ever be in, because you feel it, you're stuck and you're not happy with the results you're producing. And she kind of created this, like, it's like the success cycle. And I think her name is Brooke Castillo. She has a phenomenal podcast. It's episode number 1. It's a brilliant number 1 first episode. And it talks about why you're not taking action. And basically her point is, it's your belief. So if you believe you're going to be a top coach and number 1 coach, you will act as such, and your actions will match the belief you're telling yourself. I wasn't there. Like, I didn't feel worthy of that. I felt more, I was holding on to this story of feeling like I should be further along in my business and having all of this shame wrapped around it, where I was sort of avoiding it. I was avoiding it. So let's all shine light to whatever you are avoiding and drop it in the chat. I just shared mine. That wasn't easy for me to do. Like, I would kind of, and it's so silly because I've been overcomplicating this business probably for the last maybe year or 2 because the heart is there, the wanting to help is there, being able to wanting to provide for my family, and hopefully and being a full-time working coach, that's there. But because my belief wasn't there, you guys, it's belief. I have my PhD in coaching because I consume content like it's my job, but what I haven't been doing is producing that, like we have to be careful. And I think Brooke does a really good job of saying, this is something you should watch. This is something you should watch after your power hour. Okay. I love that things are coming in. Keep typing them in. What are you ashamed of? What are you feeling guilty? What is that one thing that if you could solve tonight, you would be like, oh my God, my business would take off? Because whatever it is, it's holding you back. It's keeping you stuck. It's limiting from your potential. And if you haven't experienced that, maybe at some point you will. And so it's okay to share this, because at some point you will be able to tell your coaches how you got through it. So it's like you're turning your mess into your message at some point. So I think that's the number one thing. Like, going back to me consuming so much content, it's like, are you doing the work, or are you just trying to learn and learn and learn? Because there's a reason why top coaches say it's belief. It's when Kyle and Danielle were at NLC and they heard that incredible message from someone who was there last year and now is in the top 10, because she thought, why can't I be the next Kelsey Hill? We always it's so easy in this business to compare. It's so easy. And I am number one. I'm probably the number one who compares. It's crazy. And it's silly because it's like, you're just limiting your potential and you're limiting your ability to create change. And so I'm not trying to come to you from a perspective of preaching, because we all know what we need to do. We all know it's the vital behaviors, it's reaching out, it's making the connections. We all know how to build this business. But what I think that is perhaps what held me back is it's the how. It's who do I need to become in order to get to that next level of success? How can I invest so much time into me that I become a magnet for people wanting to join me because they see how happy I am? So it's, yes, the connections are important. The invites are important. The to-dos are important, but it's like, it comes from passion and belief and things that you cannot fake. And if you don't have passion or belief, it doesn't matter if you send 100 invites. You will not get a yes. And I've been proof of that. I have sent that many invites and do not get anything. Seeds are planted. But I don't know. I get really passionate about this because I am trying to talk to the person who was me last week, who was stewing in this plateau and honestly, like, just not feeling passionate about my business because I was so frustrated with my results, my everything. And it's like, we just have to ground ourselves and remember why we're doing this and know that this business doesn't play favorites. And you all know that. And I don't want to talk in circles here. I'm going to try to wrap it up, and I want to like chat with you all because I think it's so important, because it's easy to look and get distracted by the shiny objects and what top coach, what are they doing? And man, they make this look so damn easy. They have 100 SC points. Like, are you effing kidding me? Like, you get in your head, and that only distracts you from the purpose of paying this gift forward and helping as many people as you can. And I'm sharing this and being vulnerable because although I'm talking to you like this now, like the last 2 months, I have used all the excuses in the book. I'm trying to find a new job. I'm trying to find a house. I like everything. Like, I've used all the stressors. And the thing is like, life is always going to have like this, right? And so I think it's comes down to knowing who you are, having that belief, but also knowing your weaknesses. So for me, like, I like things to be fun. Like, I want community. I want friendships. I want, and like, that's what my jam is. At the same time, like, I need structure. I need to be so disciplined and consistent, and knowing that, sending these invites may not be the most fun thing to do in the entire coaching world, but I know I have to. I know I have to show up at work at 9:30. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we have to treat, and I'm not trying to preach to the choir because you all are leaders on this incredible team, but I think sometimes it's helpful to hear it once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. The fact that we have, like, there has to be structure in this, in what we do every single day. And so I want you to start, although it's important to focus on what you're so good at, if you focus on your flaws and know, like, the Enneagram, I highly suggest that you can really not like just say, okay, like, I'll be complacent. These are my flaws. This is just how I'm wired. But you can really master them and know, like, okay, I need a timer to set so I know I can get all these invites out and have that structure. One other thing I wanted to quick say, and then I would love like just feedback and have this like be more of a conversation versus me talking at you, is that there was a podcast I was listening to. Can you tell I love podcasts? And it was all about mastering your mindset and your belief. And they talked about our brains, we don't fact check. Okay. So obviously we know that the sky is blue. We figured out the world is round, the planet is round, but up until then they thought it was flat and we just believed it. We believed it. And so that's so important to really become self-aware enough and slow down to really know what your self-belief is and the story that you're telling yourself. Because for 2+ years, I was telling myself subconsciously, I'm not good enough. I don't have belief. I'm not confident enough. I don't think I can do what she's doing. That was playing in my head. From the outside, it looks like I got my ish together, hopefully. I mean, like, but at the same time, like, it just takes a moment to switch it. That easy, as simple as turning on a light switch. And she said that it's called confirmation bias. So we will believe whatever we tell ourselves. So the moment you think like, I want to buy a white Honda. That's like your dream car. I want to buy a white Honda. You'll start seeing that because your brain is going to be starting to look for that story. You're going to start seeing that confirmation bias. So it's so interesting to me how it all connects, right? The success circle, where it's like our actions and our beliefs believe what we tell, So it's like, if I was feeling like I'm an average coach, who would want to join me? Do you think I'm going to show up to my business the way Brooke does, the way a top coach, elite coach does? And finally, I'm glad that you guys all shared what you're struggling with, so we can just like let this be the day where we move past it. Finally. And it doesn't have to be this huge thing, because I kept letting that lack of belief fester in me until Brooke finally called me out and was like, it's today the day. Is today the day? Tonight the night, I guess I should say. And you all are here, and Bachelor is on, right? I don't know if you watched that guilty pleasure show, but you're here. So there is a part of you that wants to invest in your business and take it to the next level. So where are our actions and our beliefs? So that's what it comes down to. So here are my resources. All right. Oh, and then we can, so how am I going to get past this lack of belief? Because I can sit here and preach at you, but I think it's also important to have tangible tips. So if you struggle as a people pleaser, not nice, you should get this book. Okay. If you're like, hell no, I'm not a people pleaser, girlfriend, you are in a great place then. So that's a good one. But honestly, it's not a bad thing. It's just, again, it's like becoming self-aware with your personality type. This one I just bought, and it has a lot to do with our belief system. It's the psychology of winning. And so again, it goes back to our actions will be aligned in our belief system and the story we continue to tell ourselves. And so you will show up and have the posture of an elite coach, but you have to work on it every single day. We go down and we push play. How's your mindset? Are you reading your vision every single day? Where can you get 1% better in your day? Like I took the time to write out my vision, but do I read it every single day? I haven't. So that's something I get to work on. The structure and planning out my month, that's important. Actually sitting down and tracking what I'm doing. You all know this. Like I get it. You're leaders on this incredible team, but I think it's just going back to the basics and not overcomplicating a business that is completely meant to change your life in ways that we cannot even imagine. And the last thing I have that has been super great, Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. So yeah, to be honest, you guys, I have been in the journalism reporter industry for the last 8 years, and I have a money story. I have like a cap on how much I think I can make. And so when your thermostat is set at 70 degrees, it may go up, it may go down, but it's always going to go back to that home base. So that's why it's so important to like really go back to, who do you want to become? Who's the person you're trying to become? So you just become a magnet for those people who are the other Brittany's of the world, who are sitting here feeling like, is this it? I'm made for more, but is this it? Is like, am I going to have to live paycheck to paycheck? Like, that's what it comes down to. Like, we could go over strategy. We could go over how to build your Instagram following, ads. Do ads work? Do they not? What hashtags are you using? There's so many logistics. But what's so cool is when you look at number 1 and number 2 coach, Melody and Ashley Molstead, how opposite are they? They're totally opposite people. Well, I don't know if they're number 2 anymore, but you know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's no right or wrong way to build a business, but you have to kind of get back to the basics of where's your mind at? Are you reading your vision every single day? And what has been that thing that has kept you stuck? Because for me, it was like, I'm not further along. I should be further along. Oh my God, Brooke, it's my 3-year anniversary in April. And I'm a shaky diamond. I go in and out and in and out. And it's like, stop. Okay. And you know what's so interesting to me? And I hope this is helping. I don't know. I'm just speaking from the heart, to be completely honest. But when she originally asked me to be on this call, I was like, wait, what? Why me? Why me? And I had to stop myself. It's like, yes, Brooke, I will do it. Yes, Brooke. What? Yes. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's a daily practice. It's a muscle. Your mindset is a muscle, but like, there's probably a reason why I hear it over and over and over again, that you'll get what you tell yourself, you know, whether you can or you can't, you're right. Like it's our mind. Like it's 10% strategy and 90% what story we're telling ourselves and how we're showing up. Because when you have the passion and when you believe that no matter what, you are going to build a 6 to 7 figure business with this, you're going to show up that way. But the thing is, what's different is like, they talk about this, like the affirmations that you tell yourself, like if you truly deep down don't believe it, then let's start there. Because it took that light switch that Brooke did for me last week. This was last week, you guys. I was hiding behind my circumstances and my excuses of why I wasn't where I wanted to be. I'm buying a house. I'm stressed out at my job. But here's the deal. The reality is that the goal of mine is to be a working stay-at-home mom. Like that is a goal. That makes my like stomach like, whoa. And so I could keep going, but I'm gonna stop because I talk in circles because I get so passionate. But I would love to like open this up and like not let this be like more of like, I'm teaching you. I'm not teaching you anything. This is already stuff you know. But maybe like what's helped you? What is something that you were struggling with and that you put in the chat and are now gonna overcome it? I mean, believe me, I was like, what am I going to talk about tonight? But I just got passionate and fired up because this stuff has been holding me back for 2 years. It really has. And it sucks. It sucks to admit that. But at the same time, I was making it about me and I don't want to do that anymore. And now that I'm aware of it, you can move forward with it. So, does anyone have questions or if they just want to like preach a little bit? Like, how was that? I can keep going.
Brittany, can I share like how we even arrived at this point? Like just the story?
100%.
Okay, I'm gonna take out my headphone. I hope Avery's not screaming because I can't concentrate. My heart rate is like so high right now because I've been so excited to share this story, but
I got like, my cheeks are red.
So, there's just so many thoughts. So the reason why I asked Brittany to share tonight is because she had this aha moment this past week. And it's crazy. In Josh Coates' Fuck Leadership book, there's this chapter at the end. I'm sure some of you have read it. The art of asking questions or something like that. And that was what I did with Brittany this week. I was like, I kept it super short and sweet. And I was like, is today the day? And I usually am really good at asking questions, but with Brittany, for some reason, I never really was. And I was like that savior. I was like trying to save her, and it almost like enabled her, you know? And I didn't do my job as a mentor to ask her the right questions the past couple of years. And so I've like lately been like, all right, gotta ask her questions. And I sent her that Not Nice book that she shared with you guys because at the root, Brittany is an Enneagram 7 and a 2. She's mainly probably a 2, closed up by a 7. And just with her, she's very religious. You know, her parents are just the sweetest ever. Like I can totally see where she gets that personality. And I was describing this to her this past week, how like we sometimes, like even me as a Ruby, as an Enneagram 3, we can be too much one way to the point that it's a negative, you know? And that was Brittany with being a 2. She loves helping people. She's just the sweetest, kindest person, but it, like when it's taken too far, it can mean that you don't have boundaries and you give your time and energy to everybody, you know, and you know, in this business, you just can't do that. And so I kind of helped paint a picture. I try to create visualizations, analogies with my girls. And that's what I did with Britt. I was like, it's kind of like my parents being conservative, like hardcore. They watch Fox News every day and they're like not open-minded to anything. Like they're way on that right side, right? And then there's, you know, the liberals on the other side. That's just an analogy. They need to like rein it in a little bit. And that's me with my Enneagram 3. I got to come like a little bit backwards and embrace that everyone has different personalities, that I can't be so hard on people. I can't be like so overachieving to everybody. I kind of have to be a chameleon a little bit more and not so black and white, you know? And so that's what I told Brittany to do this past week, was just painting her that picture. And it was really cute. She shared on her Instagram story the Not Nice book. And I've known Britt since 2011, 2012. And I was like, she's either really stressed or she's resistant to this book. Because it says, like, what does it say on there, Britt? It says,
oh yeah, it's so funny. I read this to my husband. I was just like, okay, this is the book Brooke got me. I was like, not nice. Stop people pleasing, staying silent, feeling guilty, and start speaking up, say no, and asking boldly, and being unapologetically yourself. And he's like, wow, you need to read that.
Yes. And I mean, I literally, when I went on Google and I was like, best books to help someone who cares about what other people think. Mm-hmm. And that popped up and it had so many good reviews. And so I sent that to her because I was like, this is it. Like, this is her root issue. It's not so much like the belief. It's like all these little things that have created this lack of belief in her. And, you know, it's all of what she just said on there, but it's also like, and we talked about this too a couple months ago, Britt has recently created this urgency in her business where it wasn't really urgent before. And so I think it's really easy for us to like get down on ourselves when really we just have to take a hard look at ourselves and ask ourselves, am I urgent right now? Like, do I need this? Do I want this super bad right now? Do I need this? And she has reached a point in her career where she is sick and tired of a lot of stuff, and she wants to have a baby, you know, and so she's becoming urgent where she wasn't really the past couple of years, you know, and she really had to get honest with herself about that. And it's such a freeing moment because it's no longer an attack on her personality. It's just the urgency coupled with creating boundaries. Oh my gosh, Britt's going to soar from here. There's just so many thoughts around this because you've just evolved so much. And I just had to like point out those little things.
Well, thank you. No, it's honestly, it's amazing. Like it's all, we hear the things we need to hear when we're ready to receive it, you know? Yeah. Like, so for a long time, I was kind of keeping up this brick wall and just thinking I'm fine, everything's fine. And going back to the whole idea of what people think, I think there's two different, you know, ways of that. Like for people to be like, oh, you're in coaching or you're in a pyramid scheme. Like, no, like, okay, F off. Sorry. But like, you don't clearly know what you're talking about. It's 2020. You should do one too. What do you want to sell? Okay. Sorry. I get fired up, but it's like that to me, like that level of what people think when people are closed-minded, that doesn't bother me at all. It's mostly the people like who I want to help and serve and like close, like more of your inner circle that like, it's like you have like, I don't know, the way I'm wired, it's like you care too much to a fault. So it's not so much the Sally Sues that are really sad and, you know, probably need this more than ever. It's mainly like the people that are in my inner circle that know me. And that I was like, it was the story of like, who am I to think I can do this? And oh my gosh, if they see me posting like an influencer, I'm not really an influencer, but like, I mean, like I really like my outfit and I kind of want to share the outfit details. Like, seriously, we could just like get so caught in our head for trying to be something to someone. And we overthink that. And so I guess like this aha moment again, and yeah, it took me a couple of years to realize this, is just the fact that I think like Brooke said, it's just anyone can build this business, and it's getting back to the basics, but like the belief in yourself, and are your actions matching the goals that you want? You know, it's interesting because we always say like, we don't always say, but like sometimes you hear like you can build this business in an hour, and sometimes you can, like, right in the pockets of your day. But it's like, I remember hearing this at work. I sometimes listen to these like calls, like just to learn more or whatnot. But I think her name is Shannon, and she said, I just like for 1 month went crazy and was crazy resilient and went above and beyond 10x my efforts, and just thought, what could happen? You know, what's going to happen when I just 10x my efforts? And so I think it's just making sure that, again, your actions are in alignment with your goals. Because what was happening is I was telling Brooke, like, yeah, girl, I want to be a CEO. I'm going to be a CEO. I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, you better believe it. But like, sorry, we're going to call it out. 10 invites is not going to do it. Like, we're just going to call it out. Now, let me be clear. Like, if you have incredible attraction marketing and you are like that, like, who am I to tell you that? But I think we get romantic around the idea of, well, it worked for her. And you just have to let go of that and just say, well, what's going to work for me, and what do I enjoy doing, and what can I do? What's a number that I can do without getting burnt out, but also staying so steadfast and consistent and disciplined. Like, that's something that I lacked and I was okay with, but time is going to pass either way, you guys. And I was like literally dreading my coach anniversary. Like, it's in April, and I was embarrassed, like legit embarrassed. I was like, I am a shaky diamond, and I'm going to be in this business for 3 years. Like, who am I? Like, I was getting so upset. Now I'm going to calm down. I'm going to bring it back down here. And I was getting upset with myself, but again, I just made it about me. Like, and so I feel like if we just continue to remember why we're here, what brought you to this opportunity, who are you trying to serve? And let's just all together make it our mission to stop overcomplicating a business that can completely transform your life 3 to 5 years from now. Like, you guys, I am in a job, and I want to be so careful. I don't really spew negativity like this, but it's like knowing that it will always be just a 2% race, just 2%. If you are so fulfilled and happy, and you know you're in a purpose, and you're aligned with your job, and you love it, and you want to stay a full-time employee, that's incredible. There's nothing wrong with that. But it just got to a point, like to Brooke's point, the urgency factor, I was fed up. Like, I was just like, this is so frustrating because it's like, it doesn't matter how hard I work, I will always stay capped. This incredible opportunity, just this industry as a whole, network marketing as a whole, allows you to just completely change your life. But again, do you believe that it can? It goes back to that, because I believed that Brooke could. I believe that Danielle could, that Danny could. I believe that all you could, but I wasn't allowing that I wasn't believing that in myself. And so that's where it has to start. I hope this is helpful. I know I am sharing everything that you already know. I am aware of that, but I think it's just getting back to, because I was driving home and I was like, I think at one point or another, every top coach, every successful 6-figure and beyond coach has had some self-doubt, because we're human and we don't wake up. We start this business. We don't wake up and have the mindset of a Melanie Mitro, right? But she's also been so steadfast in her commitment to becoming the person who has been a top coach 4 years in a row. So that wasn't like she flipped her fingers. It was the pain of growth, the pain of stretching, because there's 2 pains. You can stay in the pain of complacency and stay there, like I have been for the past 2 to 3 years, or you can just get out of that comfort zone because it's not comfy at all and create that change. And I don't know if that, like, I think, so I was listening to this call and they call it off to the races. And once they hit SC 1 point or 2 points, they get into this thread, and it just is like this constant like excitement, like, oh my gosh, okay, we have 10 more days, let's do it. And so it's like, once you hit the SC whatever, you're in this thread, and it's called off to the races, and you just go above and beyond, and you support and you just encourage one another. And we can do that too, whether it's a thread or it's in our, you know, our leadership thread. We can absolutely create that momentum and excitement, because beyond anything, we're here for a reason. If you didn't feel a little bit of belief, or if you felt like you got this, their life is good, you wouldn't be here. So just acknowledge the fact that you are sitting on this call on a Monday night. And some of you have kids, some of you have other obligations, or a spouse that you like want to spend quality time with, but you are here. So if we're sacrificing time spent away from our families, we owe them this. We owe them this to do whatever we freaking can to make it happen. And let's just say today, like, I'm getting out of my own way. I am getting out of my own way, and I'm not going to say that story again, because I've been repetitive and I've been a broken record to Brooke. And thank God she hasn't like totally, I don't know, just like wrote me off and was like, okay, Britt, I can't save her. She didn't. So I owe her everything for that. But we're here for a reason. So let's just get out of our own way. I hope, is this helpful? Can you tell them it too? Holy crap.
I love that you were just so open to, I mean, you've just listened to so many podcasts about mindset stuff, you know, that you were just so open to me saying, like, is today the day? And I think it's just really important to know that, you know, Britt and I have been friends for a long time, and we've been working with each other for such a long time that Britt trusts me, you know? And so I was able to say, is today the day? I have earned that right to say, like,
I
is
was not happy.
Yeah. And because I know this girl, like, she listens to so many confidence podcasts that I'm like, she can't possibly hear one more. Like, she's listened to them all. So is this it? Like, this has to be it. It's a choice now. So I just love that you chose.
Yeah, absolutely. It comes down, you know, it's so funny. Deciding is cutting off all other options. And so it's like, you're literally deciding. And so it's like, to be honest, like, I was someone who was like tiptoeing and had a back door. I had all these goals of like wanting to build a business, but it was like, oh, well, this is happening, or I'm getting married, and oh, like, it's super busy at work. So it's like, I guess it's never going to be the perfect time, and nor are you going to attract someone who's like, yeah, I have like 8 hours a day to build this. Like, what do you need me to do? Like, so your busyness, that's for you. And you're going to be proof that no matter how busy you are in your current life circumstance, that they can do it too. And so I guess I just keep going back to that whole quote that this business doesn't play favorites, you know? And it's just like, what's amazing about this, you guys, is like, I'm in an industry, a television industry, where it's a lot based on climbing that ladder and who you know. And I just feel like with this industry, this business, the fact that it's all about belief in your work ethic and how bad you want it, that you are in the power to control your circumstances in your life, and it's up to your bosses to decide. That doesn't mean you can't still be successful and have a full-time job and still freaking love what you're doing as a coach. But to know that we have that opportunity is like, that carries a lot of weight. And there are going to be days where you're not going to want to show up, and you're going to feel like you should be further along. I had that every single day. And what I've learned is that time passes by no matter what, obviously. And so I was feeling these feelings like in 2018, and then 2019 happened, and I was like, oh, I'm getting married in 2 months. Like, I'll figure it out. And here I am, right? Here I am, where I wonder what if I would have just pulled the pedal to the metal and just freaking showed up like Brooke did in the first 4, 5, 6 months of her business to create this incredible freedom she has. But the thing is like, that goes in that's not my story. And we get to own our story. We get to own the where we are in this business, because it's going to help that person, and it evolves, it changes. Like, and so I think it's just important to slow down and really figure out what it is that you want, what's in your way, and how you can overcome that, and just make the decision. And I know you know this already, but I think it's important to just reiterate it, because it kept me stuck for 2.5 years, and I don't want you to be stuck.
It's almost like the stars have to align, and and I love what you said, like, you just can't compare yourself to someone else's master list, belief, urgency, right? Because everyone, like, you don't know what's going on in someone else's heart, their core, their life, their friend list, like, you just have no idea. And so I love that you say that, because I think a lot of people just haven't realized that they haven't arrived at those mental checkpoints that you need to arrive at in order to have success with this business.
So true.
Yeah.
Anyone else? I feel this is
Yeah.
so helpful. This is helpful
Yeah.
for us. I hope. It's okay. So I know we shouldn't follow like coaches at all, but there's one gal. I mean, Brooke is super consistent, obviously, but she was on our team call one of these times. Izzy Bradshaw.
Mhm.
That girl, every single day, you're gonna see her post her personal development. You're gonna see her working out. You're gonna see her talking about some type of meditation she's doing every single day. And it's like, I remember listening to her call, and she was like, guys, like she was not treating this like a business. There wasn't any structure. She was not talking about the coaching opportunity. So it's like, there's so many things that will align and that will connect. And we think almost about like the how first, the logistics first, but the moment you just shift your mindset of like whatever block is in your way, it will kind of all come together. So easier said than done, but I feel like there's someone on this call who can understand because we've all had those mental blocks. Oh yeah, see, girl, yeah. Anyway.
Who else wants to open up just about any vulnerabilities? Like, this is a huge, vulnerable, raw, honest call. So anyone want to open up about?
Yeah, I unmuted myself.
Yeah.
You hear me okay? So
Yes.
Britt, I loved what you said, 100%. I'm an Enneagram 7 too. I know it's easy sometimes to like think I set my goals way over here and I'm like this far into it, I should be further. The truth is your upline or your person, they're rooting for you to succeed no matter what. And so as long as you're consistently kind of putting in the work, we're going to move forward. But if we ourselves, in growing any business as an entrepreneur, if we take that guilt and shame, and exactly like you, Brittany, if we just carry that and just keep piling it, it is going to stop us from any growth. Because in order for us to move forward, we have to take a good look, yes, and think critically about where we're at. Sometimes ask our mentors, hey, what do you think we can improve on? But just like you said, I recently heard too, this good girlfriend of mine, she studied neuroscience. And she had a couple conversations with me, and this was like back in the fall, and she was like, Danny, you have some of the worst money blocks that I've ever seen in my life. Even when you were like piling money into your savings, pretty soon you were like, oh shit. And you were just like, make it rain. Like, and that was all self-conscious, like, but it was in my subconscious. It was because of beliefs that I not only grew up with my childhood, and it doesn't really matter where the beliefs come from. It's just a matter of looking within ourselves or kind of breaking it down, like what you said about action or lack thereof. If you can feel it in your soul that you want this to work, it's not a lie when you're showing up. It's not. You're being your authentic self. But if you are self-sabotaging in any way or lacking action in the areas that you really need to either step into, like you said, to become that person, whether it's leading calls or doing mentorship calls or whatever, if you are lacking that action, wherever you're hesitant, That's where you need to dive into, okay? And then break it down. Take that information and say, okay, what is it about leadership that freaks you out?
Yeah.
Well, if I like one of my first coaches, I helped her get to diamond and then boom, she was gone. So I took that on as a lack of belief within myself. Like I knew I could get her there, but then I didn't feel like if I ever got anybody else to that point that I could carry her through that. And so today is the day to rewrite all of our stories, no matter what belief you had in your childhood, whether you showed up late to dance once. If you take that guilt on, seriously, if you take that guilt on subconsciously, that stays in there. That doesn't have to be your story. If somebody says like, oh, you're too much, you're too outgoing, you're too bold. Well, first of all, that whole two thing to me, I'm like, no, be you, whatever. If you're too much for that person, fine. They're not your person. But I mean, like if you took that on as like, oh, I'm a chronically late person, your actions subconsciously, you're going to like kind of panic and then you're going to start to be a late person. And then the more freaked out you get and the more anxiety you have around that, it's going to continue those bad patterns of behaviors. So it's literally about breaking those habits, finding out where the root comes from and saying, today's the day I rewrite my story.
I love that.
Today's the day. Like you get to create your story from here on. And just like you did, Britt, I think it's so amazing that you're just like, hey, you know what? Like I recognize it. I addressed it. And now I'm learning from it. And I'm going to share what I'm learning because that's what we do as coaches. We just share what we're learning as we go.
Totally. I thank you so much for sharing that. Cause it reminded me of like when you said that you're like pointing out things to like kind of confirm that story to be true. It's, oh my gosh, that's so true. And the podcast I was listening to, she's like, also be a detective of the opposite. So it's like our brain will continue to look for evidence to support whatever story we're saying. So whether it's like you said, Danny, like, I'm always late or I'm not good enough or I'm not consistent enough, we're going to continue to find things to support that because that's what our brain does. That's how we're wired. So now it's like what we can do is like reverse that and just say, okay, like I'm going to be a detective of why I'm worthy of success, of why I feel so confident in my business, why I am an incredibly amazing coach where they can join me and not the top 10 coach. Like all these things, like we can add pebbles into our pile to build up that confidence. And what Brooke said the other day too is like, when we continue, it can go in reverse, right? So if we are lack of action is going to continue to support the story that you're not going to get the great results and you're going to think it's you and it's just a spiral versus continued consistent action with a number that you feel good about that stretches you will prove to you that you're going to get those results and you're going to continue to like fill that belief bucket. And so be a detective of the good things. So thank you for sharing that because that's so true.
Thank you.
It really comes down to personalities, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It really does. And that's what Christina Solon says too. She said, if someone stopped me on the street and asked me what has made my success and build me this huge business, and she had to think really quickly, and she told this person, knowing personalities. And you have to know yourself, and then you have to know other people too. And quick story, I don't want to make this long, but I love what Danny said about being too much because that's me. I mean, you guys know me. Like I'm an Enneagram Ruby. Like I've softened over the years, but especially when I started, I was like super rough around the edges and like scared people away and was really kind of bossy and hardened. And growing up, that's what made me that way. You know, my parents fought all the time. My dad and I don't have the best relationship. And when we did talk, like he was fighting with me, you know, I grew up in a very like volatile household, you know, and so I could look at my past and my history and what I went through with my family and say, I am never meant to be a softer, more humble human being. I am not meant to mentor people because I'm too hard. I'm too black and white. I'm too critical. And that's just BS. So I've had to really learn leadership. I've had to really dive in on personality stuff because it does not come natural to me at all. But I refuse to let that be my story. I refuse to let that hold me back. Like, what got me here is not what's going to get me to where I want to be. So I have to bridge that gap with personality, learning personality and leadership stuff. That's my weakness, but I'm not going to own that story. That's not okay with me. So you have to figure out, like, what is that thing you have to bridge the gap with, and then go after it with personal development and get better in that area, especially if you need to get better in that area for this business. So anyways, I just wanted to tell my story about that because I don't know if people know where I come from really. So
I was just taking a look at these comments, and I just want to say thank you everyone to like just share like what has been like something that you have that sort of maybe kept you stuck, or that it was vulnerable to share. And I just, I'm so like proud of you all for like just shining light on this, because it was really hard for me to admit that, like, especially to Brooke. And honestly, when I got that text, I was like, how dare she say I'm ready? Like, what is she thinking? Like, it was, and then I was like, well, she's kind of right. It's today the day. But anyway, but I'm just like looking through all this stuff, you guys. Oh my gosh. Like, I won't, obviously the names are there, but like, just, lack of consistency, lack of story, or lack of my story. If you achieve success, I can't hold it. Getting to say I should be further along. So it's just, so today's the day, right? As a team, as a community, as people who are spending their Monday night here, where you can do all the other things, we now get to start fresh, clean the slate. And you can write down that story, write down whatever it is that, because this could be something that you get to work through now. Like I had to do with Brooke, and that why she sent me that book, that nice book and stuff. So it's just like, either we're going to continue to focus on where we feel we're lacking and where we're feeling we're not good enough, and that's going to be the focus, or we get to completely change the story and start fresh and come from a place of like, what is it that you want? Who is it that you're trying to serve? And why you believe in this? Like, why? I'm preaching to the choir, but it's just like, that has to mean something, because you hear every single top coach talk about belief in their why and their vision all the time. That's it. Like, let me tell you something. I've listened to a lot of calls because I was thinking, I'm going to hear the secret sauce. Today's the day. I'm going to hear the secret sauce. And they're just going to build my business for me. No. So anyway, I'm just looking through this. I don't know if anyone else wants to chime in, but I really feel this like connection with you all. And I love it, because it's like, we're all just wanting to create more for our lives. And that's an incredible thing. And it's not selfish. And you showing up and you working through this story that you've been telling yourself, this limiting belief, is going to not only change your life, but the people who you have not met yet. And you're going to get those messages in your inbox that said, because of you, I didn't quit. I have a coach. Her name is Kaya. She is incredible. She's lost like 30, maybe 40 pounds. And she bought the program 2.5 years ago, had it for a day, sent it back, blocked me on social. Like, could not find the girl, blocked her phone number for me. After 2 days, she had it, and then all of a sudden she like kind of got nervous and got scared, and she blocked me on all the things. I was like, well, she's probably not ready yet. And so I stayed there and I followed up with her, and I was just like, hey, like finally when she added me back as a friend, I was like, do I be awkward and be like, hey, I saw you blocked me. Like, what was that about? Or do I just let it slide? And I kind of decided to do the latter. And it wasn't until recently, she, like, after 2+ years, she decided to recommit. Now, what if I would have gotten in my own way and would have quit the business? She wouldn't have done it, because if Britt can't do it, I can't do it. If Danny can't do it, I can't do it. If Danielle can't do it, I can't do it. So it's like, we have to show up for the people like the Kayas who are going to come back to you and change their freaking life because of it. That carries weight. Sending out 10 invites doesn't carry a ton of weight, but when you know it can change their life because she said it, this community has completely changed her life, and the relationships she's built in this community she's never had before, because her mom will, and I hope she's okay with me sharing her story. She has an incredible story, but her mom didn't give her that belief growing up. And so she didn't have that in herself. But the fact that she can come into our Bod Squad virtual gym and see other strangers cheering her on and like giving her self-worth back, gosh, that's more than any other job. You know, it's oh, sorry, I could keep going, but that's what we're here for.
Can I add something real quick? Just
yes.
I know we're running late. And actually, I have a power hour. I gotta hop on here in a few minutes. But so in addition, like for my own story lately, I am, and Brooke and I have talked about this over the last couple of weeks since she's been diagnosed and everything. But like I have to take a medication for a brain tumor that I have that totally screws me up mentally. I mean, like beyond barriers. And it's not so much limiting beliefs in the sense that like, oh my gosh, they're more successful than I am or whatever, like not like beating myself up, but just barriers. Just mental barriers. Like I will set my alarm clock for 5 a.m. I will get up at 5 a.m. to work and work out. And I won't work out until 3 o'clock in the afternoon because I just don't want to. I just don't want to. But then, and I've been doing this for the past month, literally, like this is how bad it's been, like consistently every single day. I have literally been telling myself, it's not some motivational speech like, oh, well, you have goals. No, it's like, you know what you have to do to get to where you want to be. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't feel like it, you know what it takes to get there. So just do it. Just do it. Mm-hmm. And so I work out because it's what I'm supposed to do. And like, honestly, and I've shared this on my social media, and I've had so many people reach out to me and be like, girl, thank you for keeping it real. And I keep it real. I keep it so real, like everybody knows, but like, I'm super like hardcore Enneagram 8. Like, I'ma just say what it is. And and the people that follow me on social media and my friends on Facebook and everything, they really do appreciate that because it's a hard thing to do. I honestly don't know very many 8s in my own personal life, but you know, it's okay. And like Danny said, I'm too much for a lot of people, but that's one thing that I've really just told, even like in my challenge groups, my challenge group that I have going on right now, I know that there are several people who are just going through crap. I mean, like crap. And not like, oh, I stubbed my toe or I have a hangnail or I got a bad haircut. I mean, like life sucks for them right now. And so my showing up and being like, guess what, guys? It sucks for me too. And you don't have to be like me because we're not all the same person. And what works for me may not work for you, but I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. And I'm here. We're here for each other for this reason. It's all great when it's sunshine and rainbows. You can totally be like, oh my gosh, totally got my workout on like super early today. And everybody loves it. And everybody's like, wow, you're such an inspiration. I wish I could be like you. But when the rubber meets the road and crap hits the fan and you're still like, dude, finally got it done at 3 p.m. Shoot me in the face. I never want to do that again. Afternoon workouts are the worst. Then they start posting, got my workout in too. I hated doing it, but I got my workout in and I was really focused on my nutrition today. I didn't get my workout in, but I got in all my water. Like those are the things that really help me drive me on the days that I really, 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 really don't want to do it. Yeah. Like what Brooke just texted. I came in my bedroom to hide from my kid and he found me. But what Brooke just messaged is such a ripple effect. And it really is. And I know that last thing, I think he just hit his head on the door. I know that by doing this, by forcing my body to do what it's supposed to do, even if it's sitting down and sending out 35 invites or following up with people on a Friday or posting ahead for the next week in my challenge groups, I know my mind will start to kind of click that way. Like it sort of like stutters in that direction and then it tries to turn back. And it's like driving a ship in ice. It's hard to do and it takes a little longer and a little bit more effort than it would in a beautiful glassy sea in the Bahamas. But it will eventually start to turn the ship. And when it does, You'll charge forward and you'll sail from Iceland to the Bahamas in no time.
I love that. And it's like, how lucky are we that we get to have this community to lean on, you know, and not a lot of people do. And like, it's just like, there are so many people that are going through so much stuff. And it's like the fact that we can provide that safe space, that community to like really get out of their own way and take action towards their goals is incredible. And it's like, you think about the last thing I'll say here is like, what's the alternative? You know, for me, it was like, I kept putting off what I know I needed to do, but like, that's that whole story of like, I'm still in the same spot. So it's like, we can choose to stay where we are and stay complacent, or get out of our own way and stay disciplined and structured to go after our goals. And like, you think of any Olympic athlete, right? Like, in how often would you imagine like that Michael Phelps does laps in the pool over and over and over and over and over again, right? Like all the things that we don't get to see behind the scenes. And yet that 1 millisecond that determines the silver to the gold is because of maybe weeks and months and years of preparation for that one moment. So it's just like, we're not going to always see the behind the scenes, but yet it's what's going to change our lives. It's the daily grind and the discipline and the grit and the resilience of not caring about the no's, but just moving past it, even when it's hard, even when it sucks and is not glamorous. It's just, it's gonna mean something. So hopefully we can all keep each other accountable and like let this Team Cup momentum carry us through March. Like whether it's in the Diamonds leadership thread where we're like, okay, and let's up our game. Like Brooke talks about this. Like it is a numbers game. We want to help people, but at the end of the day, there's tons of truth to that. So, yeah, thank you for this call. Thank you for listening, and just we're all in this together. And I love that we got to share what was keeping us stuck, so we can, like Danny said, we can turn the page.
Yes. Well, and I'm just really excited for you, Britt, and just for anyone on this call and just ever who gets out of their own way, because when you do that and you just decide to be confident in yourself and like target those areas, what a great foundation that creates for your team, right? Because, you know, the past couple of years, it's probably a good thing that you didn't have a lot of business builders, because you wouldn't have been able to lead them because you hadn't led yourself yet. And so I just think it's almost, you're always right where you should be. And yeah, so I'm just excited for your future team and the foundation.
I love this. I want to take a picture of y'all.
Yes. I snuck a picture in too earlier.
Oh, good.
Right. Cheese. I sound like Avery. She always says cheese. All right.
Cool.
Jesse, I loved your talk. I wanted to tell you that. I loved your talk. Britt, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thanks for letting me share my heart and be raw and vulnerable with you all, and
yes,
and make waves.
Absolutely. Well, love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon, Britt. I love you.
Sounds good.
Bye.